So I'm just changing out heads here, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to just sort of tell you guys how I tune my snares. So start off by just finger tightening all the lugs, just to sort of get the resonant head seated here. Alright, now that all the lugs are finger tight here, I'm going to take 2 drum keys and I'm going to start opposite like this. I like to start right where you attach the snares right here, because that's just an easy spot for me to remember. So take the keys and I do about 2 full turns, and then I'm going to go right next to that one. Same thing, 2 full turns.
And again. And then the last one here, I'm sort of back to where I started.
There we go. And this is a good starting point. Now you guys probably heard the head, you heard cracking sounds a little bit there. Don't worry, that's not a bad thing, that's actually a good thing. That's just the glue that's used in the heads. That's the glue cracking and sort of the head seating in place. So that's actually a good sign. It means you're stretching the head out and it's just going to be, it's just going to sound better. Just as a general rule for snare drums, I like to tune the resonant head quite tight, sort of like a basketball, and the batter head, I usually tune it more like a soccer ball, a little bit lower. Now that you have the head in sort of the general ballpark area of where it's supposed to be, I like to go around either just using a finger or you can use a drumstick and you tap at each lug and try to hear differences in the pitch and try to match the pitch to whatever the highest note is around the drum. Here's a good example right here. Can you hear this? Now this lug right here, this is a little bit lower right here, a little lower sound. So I'm just going to try to match that. Another confusing thing too, sometimes if there's a pitch difference between 2 lugs here, you can tune up one lug trying to match the pitch, but it won't make a big difference. Sometimes you need to go directly across from that lug and then tighten the one opposite from it to get it to match the pitch. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. One thing to note, when you're putting on brand new heads, you'll tune it up, get it to where you like it, and then the next day it might be slightly detuned. This is because it's a new head, and as soon as you put a bunch of tension on it, it's still going to move around and seat a little bit. So don't be OCD about getting the head perfectly in tune when you first put the heads on. Just give it a day to completely seat, and then you can sort of tweak it to get it perfect. These are the new snare wires I got, Pure Sound. Never used them before, I've always just used what came stock, so this is actually kind of cool. I don't know much about these. I think they're supposed to be pretty good. To be honest, I just got it because I thought the copper looked cool. Another thing to note here, this is something I like to do, is when you're putting on snares, you don't want the strainer to be overly tight or overly loose, because then you won't be able to sort of adjust the snares as much. To sort of have it make sure the screw is undone a little bit and have the strainer in a medium position, so then you just have more room to work with when you're putting the snares on. Now for the top head here, you're essentially going to be doing the same thing that you did for the bottom head. Start off by making sure all the lugs are finger tight. And then with the top head, to start off, instead of doing 2 full turns, I like to start off with just 1 turn. And this is the final product. So I kind of like that. You could throw maybe one moon gel on there if you want. I don't like to use too much dampening on snares. I like them to sort of breathe a little bit. But yeah, this is sounds great, I think.